Hi, Charles Mondell, CSW, and I wanted to talk today a little bit more about cognitive behavioral therapy and what that is. And basically, cognitive is basically like your thinking, and what it does is it looks at your self-talk and how your self-talk might be contributing to some of the issues that you're having, whether it be anxiety, depression, overwhelm, stress, things like that. It looks to kind of like look at some of the thoughts you have that might be contributing to those issues. It does this via, it looks at things through the lens of what we would call like the ABC model. What is the ABC model of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy? Is the A stands for like antecedent, so it's just basically the thing that happens, just like the situation that happens, or you can, I mean, it doesn't have to be in response to a situation. It can be like a random thoughts that you come up with. But there's the antecedent, and then there's on the other end of it, there's the consequence. The consequence being, how do you feel? How do you react? That sort of thing. So there's the A, and then there's the C, the antecedent, the activity that happened, the thing that happened, and then there's the consequence. In between the antecedent and the consequence is the behavior. So, and when cognitive behavior therapists talk about behavior, they're thinking more in terms of the thought process that you're kind of having, and a lot of times people don't recognize it, and it takes a little practice to kind of recognize what you're doing, what you're saying to yourself. We believe in like a lot of self-talk, and some of them that's not really kind of right there at the forefront, but maybe sometimes it is. But it's basically saying something like, I don't know, what's one example? You're There's a short-term example. You're on your way to work, and you're late. That's the situation. The consequence of you're kind of getting all worked up and stressed out, and maybe afraid of losing your job and everything else. That's the consequence in this instance. The behavior is kind of like the thinking process that you're going through. Is I'm going to get to work. I'm going to walk in late. And everybody's going to look at me and wonder what the heck is wrong with me that I can't be there on time. And especially my boss is probably going to be standing right there, and very likely I'm going to get written up or fired. And a lot of times our worst case scenarios that we think of, especially if we tend to be anxious anyway, are not fact. Nothing's fact until it is, kind of thing. What would be a better way of looking at that? Just say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not late often. I did the best I could to get out of the door on time this morning. Things happen, and I'm just kind of running a little bit behind. And chances are I'm not going to get fired, especially if I'm considered a good employee there, for that reason. So, kind of in a nutshell, but that's one basic example, of how CBT works. So again, the antecedent, or you can call it the activity if you like, the behavior, which is your thinking about what had just occurred, and then there's the consequence, which is a result of that. And we work on coming up with a better alternative thought to replace the B. And that's kind of essentially it. There's a lot more. I have a lot more I could talk about as far as CBT goes, but that's the nuts and bolts of it. If you like this, feel free to like this video. Feel free to comment. Feel free to like and subscribe. Again, as far as I ask people to not post their personal issues or business down below, but you can always feel free to reach out to me at charlesmontlcsw@gmail.com for a free consultation. And also feel free to like, subscribe, and I'll be looking to put up more content in the future. And we'll hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.